Dory 1, this is Fire Team Delta. Dad's coming home.
Welcome to the Military Veteran Dad Podcast, where it is our mission to bring every dad home. I am your host, Ben Cloy. I'm a United States Marine veteran, husband, and a father. We will bring authentic conversations to inspire action in your life so we can close the gap between the dad you are today and the dad you want to be tomorrow. This is the Military Veteran Dad Podcast. Welcome to Friday. This is your official welcome. This is Fatherhood Friday, and I'm your host, Ben Cloy. And today we have an interesting message about a movie that I recently watched. And there was a moment in this movie that hit me like a bag of bricks, and I was like, boom. This is going to be a Fatherhood Friday. Guys, it is so good to be back with you, and I know that these episodes help you go into the weekend. You message me, you let me know that having this Fatherhood Friday gives you the recentering that you need to go into the weekend to be a great dad. Monday gives you that inspiration to do more. Friday gives you the reminder of I can be more. And so let's get started right into this week's topic. So this week's topic is a story that came to me because my wife and I watched Bad Boys for Life about a week ago as a date night. And I've always loved the Bad Boys movies growing up, and I was like, I wanted to watch it. I remember hearing about the preview before it came out, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. And so we did it, and we watched it. And in this movie, there is a scene, and I won't give away the movie, so you don't have to worry about it being a spoiler alert, but there is a scene in this movie where there is a story, a very wise story. And it's not the place that you would expect to find this kind of wisdom. And there is also some really deep meaning in this movie that I'd also like to unpack a little bit without giving away the overall arching theme of what's going on. But here is the story. A Buddhist monk is walking down a small trail along a mountain when a horse suddenly came galloping by. The horse was moving so quick, the monk had to jump out of the way. It seemed as though the man had somewhere really, really important to go. The monk, who was now on the side of the road, shouted, "Where are you going?" And the man on the horse replied, "I don't know. Ask the horse." This short and a little bit confusing story, because in the movie, there's also a confusing connection with this. He's like, what kind of story is this? That confusion is good confusion, because this story has an interesting meaning behind it. The horse is a symbol of our habits, which constantly pull us in the direction it wants us to. It illustrates how most people usually live their lives at the mercy of their habits created by mindless activity and surrounding environment. If you stop to ask yourself what you're doing and why you're running around so much, you might be surprised to learn how your actions are largely dictated by habits and not free will. And as much energy as we put into running around, a lot of the time, it gets us nowhere. You have to realize that you can take the reins and make your own destiny. Now, I want to point out that a huge overarching theme of this movie, which in the overall franchise of Bad Boys, isn't even something that you see coming. But man, once they lay it out, you're like, whoa, that all makes perfect sense. And essentially, without giving away the movie, I'm going to go into the mode of what a veteran goes through. So I'm going to relate it to a veteran, and I won't even go into the movie. Think of a veteran in your life that had something very traumatic happen. Whether it be early in childhood, maybe their dad died when they were 10. And they lost this person in their life that was leading them somewhere. And now all they're left with is their family and their mom. Now, most of these men that I've talked to, when they do have a father figure be taken from them early in life, they have a sense of feeling lost. And in that lost, they become something. They adapt to the habits of survival to get them through what they need to go through. Oftentimes, when they graduate high school, they don't know who they are, and so they continue on these habits because why not? They've kept them alive for 10 years. In that habit of understanding who they were, they became something. And this becomes something is like their core programming. It's their operating system. And it keeps running and running and running. Now, running is an important word there because you're not just running the operating system, you're actually running from something. that there was this massive shift in your life early on. And that shift created this pivot that you started going in towards. And you keep running towards this and running and running and running. And despite that, you don't really know that you're running. You just think you've become this person. You think that this is just who you are. But when you realize the trajectory of this event and how it changed you and shaped you, you realize that you might just be like this guy in the horse. That you're just riding wherever the horse goes because the horse represents the habits that you needed to create to survive. And what we don't realize as dads, fathers, human beings, that we have the ability to take reins of that. This is what we talk about when we talk about legacy. This is what we talk about when we come home to your family, because your family is looking for leadership. It's looking for a destination to be led to. And most of the time, prior to Corona, most families were operating on the horse is just going to take us where we're going, built around running to sports practices, running to all these different things and activities for the kids and participating in work. And there was no real connection of the family on where we're going. We are literally just running around with our heads cut off, trying to keep up and catch our breath. Fast forward, Corona happens, everything slows down. And you realize that this horse now just stopped. And you don't really know where you are because you weren't really paying attention of where you were going. And you realize that it's often these habits and events in our life that run in a way that get us to a place we don't recognize. And so the question I want to leave you with today from today's episode is, are you holding the reins of the horse, or is the horse leading you? And if you are running towards something, what are you running from? Because a good question I often ask on the podcast for people and why they joined, there is often a thread. It's not always there, but it's a very common thread. Many people join the military because they're running from something. And the military is the best way to get away from it. What they don't really realize is they take everything they're running from with them and keep running on that same code. They transition out of the military. They think they ran far enough away from what they were running from, but then everything kind of catches back up with them. Maybe they go back home and it's all still waiting there. Maybe they don't realize of how that self-destructive behavior was hurting the people they loved around them the most. So, again, I ask you, are you in charge of the horse, or is the horse leading you? And where has your horse taken you that maybe you don't want to be? And the best part of recognizing that the horse was leading you is the reins are right there to take back control. To take back control and get to that place that you want to be. Now, as a final close to that, most men that I talk to do not know where that place they want to be. It's very interesting when I talk to men that most men don't have a goal of where they want to go with their family, where they want to lead. They just see their life as this big circle. If that's you, if you feel like you don't know where you're headed, and you just realize the horse was in charge of where you were headed, I want you to reach out. Head on over to bencloy.com. There's a free coaching call. I'd love to dive into this with you and help you discover where you're headed, help you understand what you're running from, and help you come home to your family, because the love of your kids and your wife, they're all waiting for you once you realize that you yourself can take control of the reins. With that, I will sign off. Have an amazing weekend, and I will talk to you guys again on Monday.